This week's Torah portion is Parshat Tetzaveh. This week we continue to recount the long, intricate instructions on how to construct the Mishkan and its vessels. In particular, I would like to discuss the robe of the high priest, or in Hebrew, the Kohen Gadol. On the hem of the robe in question were ornamental pomegranates and golden bells. Now, there are discussions on whether the bells were inside the pomegranates or between them. However, we will follow the opinion of Rabbi Shlomo Yitzchaki, otherwise known as Rashi, in this explanation. His opinion was that the bells were placed in an alternating pattern between the pomegranates. Now, this robe was worn during services in the temple as well as on the holiest day of the year, the Day of Atonement, or Yom Kippur in Hebrew. What is so strange about this occurrence is that the Kohen Gadol would walk into the Holy of Holies wearing bells, working loud bells. Now, to use an analogy, imagine you are going to meet with a king or a boss at a job interview. These are instances which demand respect and caution. It is human instinct in these situations to remain reserved and somewhat silent unless spoken to. Not only is this human instinct, but it is also polite and the right way to conduct oneself. You certainly wouldn't walk into the king's chamber wearing bells on your clothing, ringing with every step. So why would the holiest man on the holiest day in the holiest place ring bells as he prepares to behold the divine? This is the question the Lubavitcher Rebbe asks on the Torah portion, and to understand it, we need to delve once again into the realm of Chassidus. In Judaism, we have a concept known as a true repentant, or in Hebrew, a Baal Teshuvah. The process of repenting is called Teshuvah. The ability to repent for one's wrongdoings is seen as one of the biggest gifts God has bestowed upon the Jewish nation. The process of Teshuvah is a natural yet intense process. One's godly soul is revealed and gains autonomy over the body, and one runs away from evil and towards all that is good. The idea may sound far-fetched, but similar situations occur many times during one's life. In fact, anytime a person decides to quit a vice or a bad habit, one is essentially running away from what he deems to be evil and towards what he deems to be good. Now, in such a situation, the Baal Teshuvah is akin to a drowning man. His soul is screaming for help. He is grasping at branches, attempting to pull himself out of the evil environment in which he has found himself in. This is not so different from the way many Jews pray, where they clap, scream, and cry out during prayer services. This is because they are using the prayer time to repent or do teshuvah. So far, we have two extremes. When one is walking into a king's palace, one should remain silent. When one is drowning, one should scream with all one's might. So, how do we tie all this up? When one is in the teshuvah process, their soul is still drowning. It's screaming. Yet, they are still a part of the Jewish nation, and they must be heard in order to be saved, just like the drowning man. When the Kohen Gadol walks into the Holy of Holies on Yom Kippur, he is walking on the nation's behalf to ask for God's full forgiveness. The bells on the hem of the robe are symbolic of those loud souls, the souls of those doing teshuvah. And on that holy day, the Kohen Gadol brings that person before the divine presence with him, and is granted full forgiveness along with the entire Jewish nation. Now, this is a beautiful message. However, unfortunately, the service is not currently being held in the Holy of Holies. So what can we learn from all this? Here's a question. Why in this generation must we go out and put tefillin on other Jews? Why must we be loud and active? It wasn't like this in previous generations. We are on the cusp of the Messianic era, and we must do everything we can to speed the coming of the Messiah. In the Talmud, these times are called the Ikvasa de Mashiach, which literally means the footsteps of the Messiah, i.e. the lowest level, yet it is at this level where the footsteps can be heard. In context, this can be seen as the hem of the robe. We know there must be bells on the robe, and its sound must be heard. Let's be honest, in the times we live in, the sound of unholiness can be heard anywhere and everywhere, and it's loud. It is only through creating a holy noise that we can combat this, and ultimately lead to the holiest of noises, the sound of the shofar, the sound of redemption. Thank you so much for watching, guys. To help the channel grow, I would really appreciate it if you could like, subscribe, and share this video. I hope to be posting about Purim, Pesach, and all the Jewish holidays that are to come. Have a fantastic, purposeful week, and I'll see you next time.